Well, when I put the microphone on in front of Celine Paquette, she said, make sure they turn up that music really loud so they can't hear my voice.
You're right.
Hi, Celine. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you, Gordy.
I loved your little speech about the attitude earlier tonight, but boy, you hit the nail right on the head. This is a pretty special part of the country you represent in this county's legislature.
I agree, and I think the newspaper columnists from Albany recognize that too. They called us unpretentious but survivors, and that's so true.
This whole storm, I don't know, how did it affect you personally outside of your official duties?
Well, I have an insurance agency.
I know that.
So,
almost enough said.
So I've been very, very busy, but we're trying to help people the best we can.
But you know, over and over again, I've said it and you've said it, and will continue as long as I have breath to stand here and do it. It's a pretty special bunch of people we have up here in northern New York.
Very, very, very special. We shared showers, we shared food, we shared homes, we shared wood stoves. It was quite a time, but everyone pitched in. And as I mentioned in my talk, there was no looting. Nobody took advantage of anybody else. We gave and gave and gave to help people.
Even though we're celebrating tonight this volunteer spirit on the 21st day of February, the recovery is still far from finished.
Absolutely. I think a lot of homeowners have some minor repairs to do, but our farmers are very, very hard hit. And it will take a long time for the farmers to recover. They may have recovered some of their milk because the co-ops have paid them. Some have, some haven't. And then there are others who have lost several animals, and that's very hard to replace. And there's not much help coming, unfortunately.
In your speech, you used a lot of good C words like compassion and camaraderie and things like that, but unselfish is another word that comes to mind.
That's very true.
These people who were severely hit at home, some of them didn't even have time to go home and find out what their homes were like. They were too busy helping their neighbors through shelters or volunteer fire departments. And that's what makes this northern tier and the rest of our county very special.
That's right. Our Champlain Fire Department chiefs mentioned that. Said we didn't have time to worry about our own families. We were helping others.
Just terrific. Celine, thanks so much for everything you do. And I hope to see you again at Isle of Mott this summer.
I hope so too. Thank you.
Many years ago, a guy by the name of Walter Brenner did a song called Old Rivers and Me. Remember that, Calvin? No, you're not that old. George might remember Old Rivers, though. How you doing, George?
Good. Can't complain a bit.
Boy, I'll tell you, there's a lot of happiness here tonight, and a lot of backslapping and people thanking each other. It's an amazing part of the country we live in, and Rouse's Point was right in the middle of it.
Yeah, we were. We had, we're a little different than the rest of the communities around it. We own our own power company in Rouse's Point. And I have to take my hat off to the people of Rouse's Point. When 1 week we had power restored to everybody in the village.
Think about that for a minute, boy. That's kind of amazing all by itself.
Yes, it is, considering that the rest of the county was in tough shape. Basically, though, what I want to say is that people don't realize that the first 72 hours of this ice storm, the fire departments carried a load, totally. There was no help nowhere. Our emergency services went into action. They did their thing. A lot of people were unhappy what happened because they expected better results, but they did what they were there for. And I had the, let's say, fortunate opportunity, or whatever you want to call it, but to be there on Friday afternoon in the EOC. And I was totally amazed at what went on down there. People have no idea until they see it. A lot of criticism was thrown out at the county, and it wasn't really called for.
I'd like to get all those people who uttered all that criticism in a room and give me a microphone, and I guarantee you when they went home, they changed their mind. Because I've watched guys like George Rivers and other volunteers through the volunteer fire system here in the North Country for a long time. I spent a lot of time supporting these volunteer firemen, but I've never seen them act any more courageously than they did this time around.
No, they were the backbone of everything. The National Guard got the praises, but people in this area got to realize that those firemen out there were the ones that really laid the groundwork for the whole thing.
You know, it's hard for other people to understand, and I can't blame any of the other media for it because everybody did the best they could in covering the story, but it's hard to get a total picture unless you were right there with your boots on in your bunker. And I'm one of those people, as you know, I listen to scanners all the time. And I was kind of trapped in my house for a few days myself, and I had all the scanners on, and I listened to every frequency, and I heard everything all the people did up here in the Northern Tier, and I was just blown away by how they reacted. They were completely overwhelmed, and yet they still found the wherewithal to get the job done, George.
I have to tell you a little story, Gordy. We had some fire departments from southern New York up here. Westchester County, we had a fire department in Ross's Point from a department called South Salem. We had a mutual aid call to go to Champlain with our ladder truck to unplug a chimney on Sunday night. And everybody knows what the weather was Sunday night. It was cold and mean. I was the only one in the station, and I'm not patting myself on the back, that could drive the ladder truck. And these guys from South Salem says, "Chief, if you can handle it, we'll be there with you." At that scene, the wind was blowing, we were way out in the country. A 19-year-old from South Salem came up to me and he says, "You people are something else again." And this I will take to my grave with me because these guys really said it. He said, "We have never had to work under these conditions, and you people seem to take it in stride and do it like it's nothing."
Pretty tough stock here in Northern New York, you know?
And, you know, I thought that was probably the greatest praise that anybody could give to North Country.
And I'll bet you they didn't have that opinion when they jumped on their truck to come up here. They said, I bet you some of them said, "Well, we'll go up to Podunk, USA and help those country hicks up there."
I'm not sure that if they ever had that in their mind. You got to remember that, and I'm very proud of the state of New York. And we've had probably one of the best mutual aid systems in the country.
How long have I said that?
But when they enacted the state plan, we moved, I believe, 40 counties out of the 52 or whatever it is in the state of New York, and 5,000 firefighters in one day with a minute's notice. That is something to marvel about. And there's no other organization that can say that. Even the National Guard that can move troops and move them, they cannot believe. I myself are overwhelmed because we have never had anything like this.
I think somebody up there loves us, George, because most of us survived this ice storm 98. We wouldn't want to go through it again, but we're grateful for the way we did come through.
The only thing I can say is it was sad that we had to lose the 2 lives in Beekmantown. Because other than that, nobody lost their lives.
We were lucky in so many ways. George, thanks so much for all your help, not only this time, but for a long, long, long time.
Well, that's part of being a volunteer.
He's a good guy, George Rivers, Rouse's Point. They say time flies when you're having fun. We started our program in real time about 3 hours and 15 minutes ago, and boy, has it been a great deal of fun. The Northern Tier Chamber of Commerce honoring 3 towns, 5 fire departments, 3 shelters, and countless volunteers from this area and other areas who helped us survive the ice storm of '98. It's been a wonderful, joyous, thankful occasion tonight, and I think no matter what comes along, this Northern Tier of Clinton County will survive another time as well. We thank you all for watching. If you get a chance, congratulate Calvin on his beard, and have yourself a tremendous day wherever you go and whatever you do. Listen to Hometown Cable in a program called Our Little Corner.